I really want to switch. I want to switch to. I want to switch to setting, and that's why I've joined this. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Brilliant. We're so glad to have you here, Victoria. And so we've seen a lot of people already working in it within health and social care, and some people are looking to switch career, which is great. So my name is Olayinka, and I'm so glad that you joined this workshop. It's sort of like an impromptu. And this sort of started because I've been getting a lot of questions about people wanting to migrate, people wanting to change career, and I've been getting loads and loads of questions. I just thought, you know what, it's better, I have a workshop or just talk about it where everyone can just join in, because I'm unable to answer questions individually. And I hope today is very helpful at the end of this session. I hope that you'll be able to gain loads of ideas, strategies, and that you can actually use to update and rework your CV. And I'm really glad to have Rebecca here. I'm just mentioning that one more time. Because as an HR person, I don't have HR background. So I wouldn't say I'm an expertise when it comes to working in your CV, but I have had life experiences when it comes to working on my own personal CV. And actually, it's so amazing that my telephone, my iPhone, iCloud reminded me today about 7 years ago now, over 7 years now, when I went for an interview, reminded me of a particular picture. And that picture was when I went for an interview and I didn't get the job. Even though my CV was quite okay, but then again, I think at some point or the other, my confidence was lost when I got to the interview. So we're gonna be learning more about how to work on ourselves as well, how to gain confidence, and also how to actually work on our CV to actually get us that telephone call that we've been waiting for, and especially for people that are looking to switch career, that don't have any health and social care background. And I hope that today is also helpful for you. So if you allow me, I'm going to share my screen. And so my name is Olayinka, and I'm the founder of Black Women in Care. So I'm just going to be talking briefly on what Black Women in Care does and what we are all about. So Black Women in Care, it started in the year 2020, because I've been working within health and social care myself for over 11 years, over a decade ago. And I've seen a lot of, misrepresentation, underrepresentation of Black people that are working within health and social care. And I sort of started the platform so we can train one another like we're doing now. We can have workshops, we can share ideas together. And we do have like a monthly meetup with healthcare leaders. And last year we held our first conference, which was brilliant. It was very successful, if I must say. The feedback from that conference was so overwhelming. It was even from the speakers and the people that attended that conference, they can attest to that fact. So that's what we aim to do, to bring in everyone working within health and social care together. It doesn't matter what role you currently have within health and social care, as long as you're working, for example, within the NHS, or you're working with the local authorities or CCGs. We want to bring everyone together, and our main aim for that is because we've seen a lot of Black people. We do work within health and social care, but also we have minimum amount of people actually in the leadership role. And when I say this, according to the research and the survey that I found out that there are lots of health and social care Black people, Black women precisely, that are working within the NHS band 6. There are loads of us working within NHS band 6. But when it comes to the higher role, there are less. The higher the role goes, the lesser you'll find a Black person. And that's why I started this platform, and it's been phenomenal so far. So with the recent research, the Snowy White Peak, it reported that 42% of the workforce, they're either Black people or other minority ethnic group. However, 17 out of that 40 trusts, they had non-Black people on the boards. So we have a non-Black people making decision for the Black people that work in on the on the front line. And so that's why I said something must be done about this. And we do have our advisory board as well, people that are in the strategic level within the NHS that do advise us on the things that we should do and how we can go forward. And the way we bring out, we bring this to you is by having these workshops. And I believe that at the end of today, you'll be able to, if you haven't joined us yet, you can open a free account. If you go to www.blackwomeninCare.com, you'll be able to open a free account, and our membership is growing. And so if you're a care worker, social worker, HR, public health consultant, executive and non-executive, we're inviting you to actually join the group. And also you can tell more people about it. And if you're looking into working within anti-social care, absolutely, now is the time to open your free account. And also we have a mailing on here, so it's not, even though we're more focused on the female, it doesn't exclude the males as well. So I'm not gonna bore you with myself, but I've been within health and social care, like I mentioned, for over 11 years. My first degree is in business management, and also I have my postgraduate in health and social care management. I'm also a chartered member of I'm a member of Chartered Managers in the UK. I'm a trainer, I'm a consultant, and I'm also a UK registered CQC registered manager. So I'm currently working with businesses, and I've worked with a lot of businesses as well within health and social care consulting for them. In terms of starting their businesses or supporting them with the compliances, audits, or mock inspections. I do support within health and social care, and especially the domiciliary, and also with the care aspect, not just domiciliary, with the care side of health and social care. I would say I'm much more experienced within that role. However, we do have our mentoring groups as well, which we're starting very soon. Our first cohort is going to start in April. The form is currently out, so if you might be interested in our mentoring, we do have uh, the first Black woman orthopedic surgeon. She's part of our mentor, so there are loads and loads to gain from her. How does she do it? How can she be the first orthopedic surgeon in the UK? We have the operational manager for Skills for Care. We have people working within the NHS, the NHS managers, the NHS, even board of directors. One of our speakers, Patrick Nayumba, if I'm right, is also one of our mentors. So Patrick is a male, but his support is one of the backbone of pioneer member of Black Community Care, and also is one of the mentors. So if you would like to join the mentoring for this year, because we're just going to have one this year for 6 months, starting from April to September, do let me know, or you can send me an email after this session. So, like, I started Black Women in Care. I haven't been influenced by the challenges and discrimination that I've seen my colleague faced. I've seen a lot of people, and also I've had that first-hand experience myself. So I just thought, bringing people together. So we want to play an integral role in repositioning and restructuring of inclusive and equal industry opportunity that enables our members' growth. And we have our vision for 2025. By 2025, we want to develop and empower 10,000 leaders. We believe that it is attainable. It will be difficult because of there's so many challenges, but we are willing to go through that route to take up the challenge. And also, not just, we have a lot of people, like I said, in the background that is doing so much work. So 10,000 leaders by 2025. We want to move all our Black people that have been working within the NHS or within social care for 10 years, being in the same position, and we want to make sure that they actually move forward. And we have a lot of Black people at the board level. That is our aim for 2025. So each year we're aiming, this year we're going to empower 2,500 leaders. We say leaders because it doesn't matter what you're doing right now, you are a leader. So it's 2,500 leaders this year, and 2023, 2024, 2025, but believe by, through the support that we have and by God's grace, we're going to achieve our aim. So I'm going to move on swiftly, and I will not bore you with myself. At the end of this, you might have seen it on the email, you'll be able to update and rework your CV with the recommended guidelines. And also, I want it to be as interactive as possible. So I'm not just going to be doing the talking. I'll try and go through my slides. So you can take some pictures if you like. Um, so you can take some pictures. I'll try and go through my slides so we can then discuss if there is anyone that you have your CV here at the moment and you want us to, to support you. You can send me that email. I can put that up and we can actually work on your CV right now. Whilst we're here, everyone will share ideas on how we can improve your CV. So at the end of this, you'll also be able to build your CV with the downloadable templates. There'll be templates that will be recommended by myself. You learn the top CV tips. You'll be able to establish relevant work history and highlight the relevant experience to include on your CV. You'll be able to understand common CV mistakes and how to avoid them, and then learn how to tailor your CV, and then so you can build a standard CV. So if I may ask us, what is a CV? What is a CV? It's not a class, so don't think I'm not scoring. So what do you understand by a CV? I you can use the chat box so you can actually unmute yourself. What do you understand? What is a CV? And why do we need one? Don't go quiet on me now. Okay, I've got one chart to show our skills and abilities. Yes, absolutely, Miss Rose. Thank you for that. So CV help us to show our skills and ability. That is very good. That's great. So it helps us to show our skills and ability. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, if there's no one else, I will move on. So absolutely, from what Ms. Rose just said, it helps us to show our skills and ability. And another person's, oh, I've got so much here. How come I didn't see that earlier? Okay, it's a description of who you are. That's interesting. Nokia 2.3. That's interesting. A description of who you are. It is our brand of who we are. Okay. Rachel said that a CV is an introduction of who a person is. Right, okay. A CV tells a lot about our personality. That's very interesting, Victoria. That's very interesting. So a CV tells a lot about personality. Okay, good. A brief summary about a candidate and what you should be given a chance. We have all given the right answers, and some of the answers are very interesting, I must say. And from what you've just said, I'm gonna combine what Miss Rose said earlier with all of our answers. So Miss Rose said that to show our skills and ability, and I like the fact that she used the word skills, because when it comes to skill, it's something that can be learned. I remember one of my uncle. He is a doctor, but into surveyor doctor. And he told me one day, I remember during those time that I was looking for a job. Like I said, this is the first time experience. I am not a professional, HR professional in any way. Rebecca is, but I'm just telling you my first hand experience that I've seen, and I've seen it worked so many times for myself. And then he told me, he said that, there isn't any job that one cannot do. Except, of course, orthopedic surgeon. You don't want to be dealing with bones if you don't actually know what to do. Or if you're a doctor, you don't want to be dealing with that. But there's no job that you cannot do, especially corporate jobs. And I asked him why. He said, because if you go to any job, they're going to train you anyway. Why most organization these days do want a ready-made, because they don't want to go through that rigorous process of training you, of telling you all the things that you need to know. In quote and unquote, they don't want to babysit you. But my uncle said there is no job that one cannot do. And I like the fact that Ms. Rose said your skills and ability, because when it comes to skills, it's something that can be learned. you can learn to be, for example, an HR person, human resources. There are qualifications that are there's even transferable skills that you can, you can add to your CVs, maybe from your previous job. For example, if you're a teacher, do you keep account? How do you speak to your students? So there are transferable skills from being an HR to being a teacher, from being a teacher to being an HR. And he told me that, and that stuck with me. That, and everyone I met, don't think that there's any job that is too that is not attainable for you. There is no job that you cannot do. Don't see any job as too big, or I have to get this certain level before I can actually get this job. And just so that I will say that to us. So a CV, if you check the dictionary, it's the short word, is a Latin word, and is curriculum vitae, which means the course of life. So the CV is a course of life, and it is a document that details your best quality. From all we've said, we've mentioned skills, a brief summary about who you are, about your personality, about introducing the person that you are, a brand. But what we didn't, what we, and I want us to underline the word best qualities, because we all have good qualities, and sometimes we try to bring all our qualities and bring it into our CV, and that's one of the common mistakes. So we all try to bring all our qualities. I hope you have a pen, and I hope that you're writing this down, or I hope that you're taking pictures, because there's so many important points I'm going to be mentioning. So it says that it's your best quality as they relate to the open role, because sometimes what we do is, because we've got so many skills, and like I said, some skills are transferable, whereas some skills are not even relevant to the open role, and then we matched everything together, and our CV is going 5 lines, 10 lines. The other thing I learned about CV, it doesn't have to be 3 lines, it doesn't have to be 4 lines, because like I said, I was really looking for a job. I really looked out for a job, and I was speaking to people that are more experienced than I am. I remember speaking to an HR friend, and what he told me, I would never forget. Even my friend, they've all, because they've been there, they've done that, and they are able to share their own experiences, which actually worked for myself. So what you're doing is you're showcasing your best quality, and you want to ensure that your best quality is related to the open role. So any quality that is not related, that is not relevant to the open role, what are you doing? You're putting that aside. That is not necessary on your CV. If, for example, you're going for an HR role, and then you probably done a job that is not related to HR, they don't need to know about the job. They don't need to know, unless the skills is transferable. But if it's not related, just let go of it. That doesn't need to be on your CV. So it is a document that details your best quality as they relate to the open role. And as someone said earlier, it is like a brand. Like you're branding yourself. In the business world, they have these brand standards. So your own CV is your own personal brand, and that's why you must update it. You must rework it as soon as you're learning more skills. You need to keep updating it. So why is it important to keep your CV updated? Because I believe that everyone here, you all have a CV. So I'm not going to go to the importance of why do you need to have a CV, because I believe that everyone has a CV here. But why do you need to keep your CV updated? So you can identify if there is any gap in your skills or experience that you need to develop. For example, I was at home for like 2 years after I had my first daughter, and during that period of time, oh my goodness, I remember during that period of time, I wouldn't say I wasn't doing anything. I was taking care of my daughter, but how can I then identify the skills I was able to? Because it's not easy being a stay-at-home mom. So how do I then transfer those skills, like managing the finances at home, and short time management as well? That's part of skills, because they need to wake up at a certain time, she needs to be fed at a certain time. How do I transfer those skills into my CV? And because sometimes what we then do is we overlook those gaps, and the company that we are applying to, they can actually see those gaps when we need to explain it. So why do you need to update your CV? So you can identify any gaps in your skills or experience. And also, so you can keep track of key accomplishments as you achieve them. Remember, I said earlier that I was on maternity leave for like about 2 years or 1 year plus thereabout. Um, During that period, even though I said I wasn't working, but I was volunteering. I had a volunteering job that I do. It doesn't matter if it's just once a week. I do. It was about once a week or sometimes twice a month. But I do volunteer and I teach somewhere, and not only do I teach, I also support them like with their business development ideas, all those things. I was able to identify them and then update my CV that even though I've been at term for like up to 2 years, but during this period of time, this is what I have been doing. I've not just been staying idle at home. I have been doing this and that. And it's also fine if you've not been volunteering at that time, if all you've been doing is focusing on your children or your child. What you can also identify some skills that you've been able to use even whilst staying at home, because even people a lot of people think it's very easy to be a stay-at-home mom, but it is not easy at all. I've been there and I know that it is not easy. But having why is important to keep your CV updated so you can keep tracks of your key accomplishments. And for some people that are maybe not mom, or people that cannot relate with being on maternity leave. Maybe you've been off sick. Maybe you've just been looking for a job for a year. What have you been doing within that year? Are you volunteering somewhere? Maybe in your church, or are you part of the choir? All this coordination, it can also help. You can transfer those skills also to your CV, and people can see. The employer can see. And also, the third one is to ensure that your CV is always ready for submission, and it can so that you can respond quickly to unanticipated job opportunities. There's something that they say within, in business, what they said, you need to have your 1 minute pitch, your 1 minute speech. I remember, whilst I was in college when I came to this country, the first admin job that I got, you were actually went to find a cleaning job. I went with my friends in college because we were on holiday, so I just wanted to do something. I didn't want to be at home idle. And my friend's sister knew someone that had a business, a cleaning business, and so he called us, said, she actually called us and said, "Oh, are you interested?" We are like a lot of people from my college. We're like about 4 5, so it was very fun at that time. So I remember when I was going to this place, I called the owner of that business on the phone. I was like, "Oh, hi, my name is so 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 so," and he was so impressed with my speech, because even though I was going to find a cleaning job, I was so I was so articulate. And immediately he asked for my CV. He said, "No, I actually need an admin staff," even though I didn't end up working with him at that time, because I wanted to have fun with my friends doing the cleaning. But anyway, he wanted an admin. He said at that time he wanted an admin staff, and I followed him to meetings. I didn't work with him for so long, but I actually did probably about 2 weeks or so, like a month. But I didn't work because I had to go back to college. I couldn't do a full-time job. But what happened then is he actually wanted an admin person, and I happened to have my CV ready. And at that time, the way I articulated myself, he was so impressed, like, no way. And he said, "I actually need an admin staff. Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah, of course I am." And then, I said, "Oh, but it has to be after this one." And I went with my friends. We actually went to Gifford from London. We would take the train to Gifford. I remember, from going from what's the name of the station? Clapham Junction. So every one of us, about 5 of us, would then take the train in the morning, come back in the evening. So it was at that point in time, it was fun for me. So, but after then, I followed him. I became his admin staff. Then we went to like business meetings together. It was absolutely some of the experience I've gained there. It is invaluable experience that I didn't even pay for at that point in time. So it is always ready to update your CV so that it can respond quickly to unanticipated job opportunities. And also, you can speculatively upload your CV to recruitment database. There are different databases, and this one, actually, about this one, we have to be careful about that. So even though you're updating or uploading your CV on database like all those like Indeed, Read, the other Total Jobs, you have to be careful with that. So you're uploading your CV. It's like you are sending it directly to an employer, because before you send it directly to an employer, there are things that you need to learn. I will be going through that at some point. So, and also it's good, it's very important to also make sure that you're prepared if you find yourself unexpectedly employed. Like with the pandemic has come, a lot of people has lost the job. I can't count how many of my friends that were made on furlough. Furlough in the UK, so for some people that are not familiar with the word. So if you make furlough, you're not really working, and the government are paying certain percentage of your salary for like a month, for some time, and it's something like a redundancy, because some people at the end of the day they were made redundant at the end. But just so you're prepared if you find yourself unexpectedly unemployed. So that's why it's very important for you to have an updated CV. So how then do you work? How do you update? How do you rework your CV? So I've added the pair way. I put the word in a pair way. So for you to reword your CV, for you to rework your CV, for you to update your CV, first of all, you need to proofread them. There are a lot of resources that you can use online, such as Grammarly. Pay for that service if you're actually serious about getting a job. Pay for the Grammarly service. Proofread your CV. Before you proofread your CV, so proofreading your CV, highlight your achievement. It's so important that you highlight all the things that you've achieved. So if you work with children in church, for example, I work with children in my church, and there are lots of things that I have achieved as a person. Just within that, it doesn't matter if you have 2 children, 3 children. I like your achievement. So when I say achievement, I don't mean all that you've done. So as a result of you working with children, have you been able to get any awards or any recognition? Even just a thank you alone, you can reward it in your CV that I've worked with children for like 2 years, and I got recognized for my tenacity. I got recognized for my time management skills. Put that on your CV. Your achievement is different from what you can do, because sometimes what we do is we add a lot of things of what we can do and not what we have done and not what we've achieved. So I like your achievement. That is the pair way. So if you don't get anything from here, remember the pair way. And then information is so important. Gather as many information as possible from the company that you want to apply to. So if you have 5 company in mind initially, before I realized on how to work on my CV, I would apply to every organization. And when I say every organization, I'll just keep sending my CV, like 10 a day, 20 a day, 30 a day. I'll just keep sending my CV. And at the end of the day, none of them will call me back. But after I've got this int and these tips, what I do is I select 5 organizations. So I can select 5 or 10 organizations. And what I do about the organization is I go through the website. I read a lot about them. So looking for a job is a job on its own, but at the end of the day, honestly, it will distinguish you from others. So no, it doesn't matter where you're joining from, right? Especially in the UK, if you're joining any organization in the UK, they want to know that you are very much interested in them. You are interested in, so you're not looking, you're not looking out for yourself alone, but you're interested in working for that organization. So you're learning about the mission, you're learning about the values, you're learning about the vision of the organization, about their objectives. You're learning so much about them that when you go for interview, they will be shocked. Like, oh, you know this, you know that, and they would want you to actually work with them. And also, not only will it help you during interview, it will also help you to tailor your CV, such as using their language. What sort of language do they use? So if, for example, if they said high quality care, you can use that language in your objectives, your main mission, your mission statement, and say that I have been able to provide high quality care. Why? Because they recognize that word. That's the word that stand out for them. Some people can say outstanding care, but for this particular organization, high quality care stands out for them. And it's not just an organization. If you're working with NHS as well, it's the same. It's the same. As long as you have, if you look into, we're going to look into an example today during our discussion time. So information, gather as many information as possible, and you don't need 10, you don't need 200 organization. I read recently, I think it was on LinkedIn or somewhere in the social media, and the lady said, I sent her, oh, I read it in the news or somewhere. And the lady said, I've sent out 200 CVs and I never got a call back. and then she found out why. You know why? Because she's been sending a menstrual cycle report. So she's not even been checking. So she's just been sending. As soon as she see update your uploaded, she just send that. So that means that she hasn't even taken careful consideration. And if you haven't taken that time, how do you expect HR? I don't know if Rebecca is still on the line, but you will find out that HR, they have so much they're doing. They don't have the time to go through everyone's CV. So you want your CV to stand out in the first place. When they read the first two sentences about you, that would keep them stuck and glue with you, and they want to read more. But if you don't keep them engaged within the first 2 minutes, forget about it. They're not going to call you because you haven't taken that time, to go through what they actually want, what they actually need as an organization. So information, and also that is also related to research. Make your research about the job, make your research about the qualification required, make your research about the job description, what they actually need. Because if they don't need what you're uploading or what is on your CV, they are not going to call you. Okay, that is how to update and rework on your CV the pair way. So another thing that I want to talk about today is the 7 CV layouts, and I have a bonus there. The 7 CV layout tips to make your document more legible, that is more readable. So you want your document to entice, to sort of attract the HR person that is going to look into your CV. First of all, make sure that you're using a professional font. Don't use a cursive language. Make sure that you're using a professional font. Separate your session with different font sizes and styles. Add a summary or objective about yourself. And I tell you what, I'm going to go back to this session at some point. I'm going to go back to this session that add a summary. So if I forget, please someone should remind me about adding how to add a right summary objectives about yourself. Okay. Use bullet points, and there are lots of downloadable templates. Myself, what I use is I just go on Word document. They have some CVs templates that you can use. There are some ones that you can pay for online. At the end, I can send them to your emails. So but you have to pay for those ones. But with Word document, it is free. So if you have Microsoft Word, you can use that. But just make sure that you edit it and then you tailor your CV to what they actually want. Keep your wording concise. Keep your wording concise. You don't need to use any jargon words. Don't use too much grammar. Go straight to the point. Make sure your words are concise. Present the information within each section in a logical order. So as you're presenting your information, the information that are presented to them, other things, I'm going to show us other things that need to be on your CV. At that point, that you know how to keep them in a logical order. Check your margins. They're not too far. So at least between two to three margins at least. I'm going to check my note for that because I have my notes for that. So with your margin, ensure that they're usually between 2.5 centimeter. Your margin shouldn't be longer than 2.5 centimeter. I'm going to go back to the wordings concise because you want to make sure that the employers only have a short amount of time. I'm just going back through it again. They only have a short amount of time to read through your CV, and they have loads of CVs to read. So you want to ensure that you gather the most important information from your CV that they can read at some point. So you can omit articles like A and the D to create shorter phrases that focuses on the more active words. So you can reduce, like taking away the A's and the D to focus more to create shorter phrases that focuses more on the active words. And like I said, use the bullet point when you can highlight. For example, if you're highlighting your skills, use bullet point to highlight your skills, to highlight your achievements. And like I said, there is no achievement that is too small. You just need to be able to identify what you've been able to achieve. So, for example, if you organize an event and if the event was successful, even if it's just 4 people, but based on the feedback from that event, it was successful, and you're applying for like event management, or maybe your job role or your job responsibility would include you organizing events, that is a plus for you because you have done that. You have a first-hand experience in organizing events. So it doesn't matter what you've achieved. I don't think they are too small or they're too big. Make sure that you highlight them and use bullet point to highlight those. And then proofreading and consistency. Ensure that your words are consistent. What you're using are consistent. So, for example, if you said things like you organized an event, and then don't go behind and say that, oh, it was you and your team that organized the event. So make sure that your words are actually consistent with what you're saying. So that's the 7 CV layout tips to make your document more legible and more attractive to the HR person. So what do you need to include in your CV? So before you make your words legible, first of all, you need to know what do you need to include in your CV. Please do not include your photo, especially if you're in the UK. There is still, even though there's been a lot of anti-racism campaign and organization, they always talk about the diversity and inclusion. I tell you what, because of my son named Thomas, sometimes you see that there can be some indirect discrimination when they see you're like, oh, you're Thomas. Like, yeah, yes, I'm Thomas. But you don't need to include your picture on your CV unless you're going for a modeling job. Of course, if you're going for a modeling job, then they might need to see, your photo and how you have a six packs and things. But if you're not, do not include your photo on your CV, but include your contact information. And with this contact information, I've seen some CVs, they will have like a Barbie doll at yahoo.com, Barbie this. You don't want you want your information to be professional. So my name is Olayinka Thomas. I can say olayinka.thomas@gmail.com or at outlook.com. You don't have to buy an email. You can use free resources, but just make sure that your email is professional. Don't use Rosie A. And you want to make sure that your contact information they're actually professional. So include your you don't need to include your address unless, of course, they said that in the job description and they want someone that lives nearby. Otherwise, you don't need to include your address. You can just include your email address and your telephone number. Those are the two ways they can use to contact you. And then you want to detail your academic history. So, with your academic history, if they are not relevant to the job, I remember when I first came here, before I came to this country, I was working in Nigeria. I was a credit officer, and so Total Job still reminds me, and I need to unsubscribe from them. But Total Job still brings like credit officer's job to my emails, even till date. Over 11 years later, they still bring credit officer job. At that moment in time, it was relevant because I was looking for administration role. So it was relevant. But now I don't need to add that to my CV because I don't even need it at all. So detail your academic history. So if you have a degree in health and social care management, or if you have in accounting, you can add that there because accounting skills can still be used when you're in a within the NHS. Maybe you might be working within the accounting department. So comprise relevant skills and qualifications. So I'm just going to answer some questions now. Can you tell me some of the skills that you feel that are relevant? The most common skills, that any job that is required, the most common skills that you feel are relevant for any job that should be on any CV, the most common skills. You can use the chat box or you can omit yourself. The most common skills. The most common skills. There's one particular one that's so important that it doesn't matter what job you're applying for, the employer always look out for. There's one particular one. Brilliant, Itoro, brilliant, Rachel. Thank you. Communication skills, absolutely. Communication skills is very important. You have to be able to highlight that on your CV and also show that when analytic skills, Nokia. I think we have some statistics on here. Customer service, Yes, thank you. But there is one common one, especially if you're working, for example, within the health and social care. Communication skill is one of the six here, actually, is one of the six values of nursing. Communication is one of the values within health and social care. One common skills that I know is team working. Because as you're working within, it doesn't matter what profession you're working, you will have your manager. You Anyone can use team working on their CV because they want to see how you've worked as a team. And also, you can actually highlight that, even though they want to see your achievements, but they also want to see how you've been able to work as a team. Are you a team player? Are you a team player? Can you work well as a team? And good communication is also good. Using word package. So, are you a team player? Some employer might want to know, especially within health and social. As a matter of fact, one of the values, as I said, in health and social care is one of the six C's. There are six C's within six values, and they are called six C's. One of them is communication skills. And the other one, some organization, especially within health and social care, if you're working with private organizations, for example, they value team working because as you're working, you are also working with other people. The other thing about the other values, that's what we call the person-centered values. Person-centered values is for people that you'll be supporting, because what I'm saying is about health and social care. The person-centered values, one of the values is partnership. So they want to see how you're working in partners with other people. So even, for example, if you are a nurse, you're working at the hospital, they want to see how you work in partnership with the family of the patient. If you're working in a care home, how you working with the client family? Are you working with the doctors? Are you working with anyone that might be related, that needs to know about the client's package, that needs to know about the client's care? So team working is very important, or partnership working. So you can highlight that on your CV. So now we know some of the most common skills that on your CV. So comprise relevant skills. So identify the job, put your relevant skills. The other skills that you can put: problem solving. There are always problems everywhere. In every organization, they always face problems or the other. So have you been able to solve any problem? Can you solve problems? So you can highlight that on your CV, that you have a problem solving skills. So that also is very important. And also leadership. Leadership can be something, it is something that, like I said, every one of us on this platform, we're leaders. So you don't need to be in a position of you don't need to be in a position of leader to actually lead. Some people lead from behind, and it has to do with that skills. So if for example, if your manager is not available, what do you do? How do you bring people together? You understand? So you can highlight that on your CV and list your professional experience. Obviously, you're gonna list your professional experience, and if your experience is not related to what to the job that you're about to do, you can highlight. Maybe you already have a qualification in that area, so you can speak open and say, actually, I don't have any professional qualification experience within this role, but I'm willing to learn. But I've been able to gain this qualification that will enable me. So that will stand like a foundation for you going into that role. List your achievements and awards. And what I'm going to say about achievement and award is, I said something about achievement earlier. It doesn't matter how little you think your achievement is, please highlight them. And also, it's also an opportunity for you to apply for awards. Please do apply for awards. People that you see that they post their awards online, they apply for them. No one's sitting at home and thinking, oh, this is a pleasant surprise. No, it's not. Majority of people do actually apply for them. It's not a pleasant surprise. They do apply for awards, or they will get their friends to nominate them. And Black Women in Care also. Last year, we held our first Black Women in Care award, and one of the winners, she is a registered manager for Jewish Care, and she's been in care for over 30 something 32 years, and she cried. She was shedding tears of joy. She said over the years that she's been working, she's never been nominated. And you do know who nominated her? The PR of Jewish Care. Someone from Jewish Care nominated her for Black Women in Care Award. And with Black Women in Care Award, they have to go through some processes. One of the processes, we contact the service users. We will contact, if it's working in the hospital, we'll contact the patient if they're willing to. We also contact their colleagues, and even senior colleagues as well. And the feedback from them about this person was phenomenal, and she deserved that winning. And she said for how many years she's never won any award. So also, it doesn't matter how little that award is, you can apply that is related to your role. You can apply for them. So if you have any awards, it doesn't matter where you get the awards from, highlight them on your CV. Include relevant publications and presentations if this is necessary. So if you're going for a research job or more higher, like I said, some board leaders, you might want to include some relevant publications. And there are medium of which you too can post your publications. So if you have any blogs that have gained a lot of insight, that have feedback. So if if you're working within, like today, for example, is Mental Health Nurse Day. So if you're a mental health nurse and you've shared some information about how to take care of yourself as a mental health nurse, please highlight them on your CV. So if they can go to that person if they want to, but even them seeing that, they're like, okay, this person, we want them. So if you have any publications or any blogs that you've shared, please highlight them on your CV and list out your professional association and affiliation. I mentioned earlier that I'm a member of Shattered Managers Institute of Shattered Managers, rather. I mentioned earlier, I pay them every month. And I also, not just because I pay them every month, but I gain a lot of insight. We have webinars that I meet with other leaders. So that is very relevant on my CV. And I mentioned that on my CV. So if you have any professional association that you're affiliated with, please mention them. For example, if you're being mentored by Black Women in Care, that is a great time to highlight your skills. And like that woman now, she said, when she wrote back, and she said, can you please share the logo of the Black Women in Care Awards that I won? And she was so excited. So that she's going to now put that on her CV. Not only that, she's putting that on a signature email. So at the end of that email, winner Black Women in Care Awards 2021. So list your professional association and affiliation. Add your hobbies. What do you like to do? What do you like to do in your spare time? Because sometimes it might be your hobbies that will interest them. So for example, on my CV, I wrote that, I like to teach, and also I volunteer. For example, I volunteer for Prince Trust Charity. I'm one of the mentors at Prince Trust Charity. I love to do that genuinely. And also what I do add on my CV, every of my CV, is I love to take a walk down nature to feed the dogs, because that, I've been doing that, from a young age. But if I'm applying for any job that is not relevant, I'm not going to add that to it. But I do genuinely love to do that. And if you love reading, you can highlight that as well, if that's what you love reading, if that's what you love doing. So highlight them, and what you then do is review and edit. Review and edit what you've been able to highlight. So after you finish with this, what you can do is, this is what you must include on your CV, and then you then go back to this one. You then go back to this layout. So remember your fonts, use the bullet points to highlight your skills, keep your wording concise. So you go back to this layout after you've been able to add all of this to your CV. So some of the 5 common, there's so many mistakes that we make. I'm just going to highlight 5 common mistakes because of our time today. And one of the mistake is spelling errors. Like we said, it is a brand, and the spelling errors just put people off in the first place. It just put people off. Ignoring the gaps. So if you have any gaps, 2 years, 1 year gap, write it there. Between so year and time, I was doing this. Don't ignore those gaps. Actually write something there. And don't fail to tailor your application to the job role. So don't be like the other lady that was sending a menstrual cycle report. Make sure that you, like I mentioned, identify 5 companies. Start with that, 5 organizations. Go through the website, read about the job description, and then identify what they want and speak in their language. Don't use a poor formatting. So how CV go is, first of all, you highlight about yourself. So I like a brief description about yourself, what you do, and then the first job is the most recent one. Your most recent job should come first, and then you can go all the way down to the ones that you've done before. And if you're highlighting your qualifications as well. Your most recent qualifications should come first, then you can highlight the other ones. And if you are doing with your highlighting your skills, the most relevant skills should come first before you highlight other skills. Like maybe using Excel, so if, for example, if you're a nurse, what do you need to use Excel for? So if you can't use Excel, that can be an additional task, maybe to create they can maybe when they want to create some reports, they can call on you, but that is not the main responsibility of that role. So you want to highlight the main responsibility of that role first. And also, the 5 common mistake is lack of evidence. I can do this, I can do that, but have you been able to do it? And what have you achieved? So if I say I've been working within health and social care for 11 years, out of these 11 years, what have I achieved within this time? You need to be able to highlight that as well. So highlight your your achievements. So you have to show your evidence of the things that you have done. So I just wanted to ask us a question. So what changes are you making today? Is there anything that you open, after this session, I'm going to be making some changes to my CV, or actually I do need, it has made it more complicated for me. So what changes are you making today? I know our time is fast spent already. And I just wanted to ask us if there is any questions that we have. And if you have your CV that we can go through right now. And I will be showing us also some job descriptions and what we can actually do going forward. Is there any question?
Hi, it's Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi.
Would you be able to show us like an example of a CV with the formatting? Because on there you put different different fonts for your sections. So would you be able to give us a demonstration of that?
Of different formatting for CV. Yes. I mentioned that I use at the moment I use MS Word for myself. But before I show that, I want us to look into this this job. So I'm on NHS website right now. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on NHS website right now. And so this is just a practical way. So if you're looking for a job and then you go on NHS website and you found this job and this is the job you want to apply for, right? So the salary is up to 50K, and this is about the employer, the pirate group. So for example, you can open another link here and to learn more about the employer, say pirate group, or you can actually go here and search for that employer. So you can see the private mental health hospital, that's what they do. So why you're doing this is because you want to understand the language that they speak. You want to understand everything that they require. So you know about the organization. So we've just posted the job on NHS website, right? So I don't know if you can find the jobs here. Careers, let me go to careers here. Okay, if you just give me 1 second, just 1 second, please. Sorry about that. So you go on the website and this is their, their what's it called? This is the career site, and you might find the job that we found on the NHS website here. So let me go to search all jobs. What's the job title? Clinical psychologist. Let me see if I can copy that. I hope that you can see the Power Group website. Can you all see it, or am I still on NHS?
Oh, we can see it.
Okay. Lovely. Oh no. Just give me 1 second. Okay. The Power Group is not allowing me. It's messing with my network now. Just hold on 1 second for me, please. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna close some pages. I've had too much page open. Okay. Yeah, the drink, that's good. It's lovely. Sorry about that. I've just been chatting with my girl. So now I'm sharing my screen again. Can you see the NHS website? Because I don't know what was going on with Power Group earlier. I've closed some pages, so you might allow it now. I actually want to put that job title here, so you can take us straight to that role. I think I might have found it. This was 50,000. Anyway, I'm just going to open one of it. Okay, so now we are now on the website of the employer that wants to recruit. And this is what they've stated there. A clinical psychologist, the first time rate, blah, 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 blah. We're looking for talented people like you. And they've listed out that you can make a difference, and obviously about themselves and why you should join them. Because when it comes to recruiting, is a two-way. They're also looking for talented people, like I've said, like you. So they've mentioned about themselves, about a lot about themselves. And so what they are looking for is this. What they're looking for is this. You want to highlight this. What they're looking for is this. They're looking for a qualified clinical psychologist for a CAMS unit, blah, blah, blah. They're looking for someone that is motivated, with experience in child and adolescent mental health, working with families with severe and complex problems. The role we identify and deliver appropriate and relevant treatment and intervention. I don't know, from here, can you identify some skills from here? Are you able to identify some of the skills that they need from this job description? Can you, if anyone can identify some of the skills, can you type in, please? Can you type in the chat? If you can identify some of the skills. What skills can you identify from that, from the highlighted one? From the one that I highlighted, what skills can you identify quickly? Meant to finish 15 minutes ago. Identity. Interesting. Communication skills. Okay. What are the skills that we can identify from that role? Problem solving, motivation. Okay. You can see mental health, caregiving, yes. Someone that is motivated, yes, Victoria. So delivering appropriate and relevant treatment, so intervention to the client, the impatient client. So once you see this, you don't want to go otherwise, unless, of course, you don't have this experience. You might have the same experience on your CV, but what you want to do is you want to word it the way they've worded it right now. So if I want to word it, I'm going to close this. I'm just going to copy this. And I will now go back to Rebecca's question. Just give me some second. I've copied that. I'm now going back to Rebecca's question. Because like I said, I'm using the template on Word document. Okay. And I'm sharing my screen now. So let's say this is Jana. Jana Gardner want to apply for the clinical psychologist role. And what I want, can you see the human resource generalist with 6 years experience of working and assisting organization? What I will do is I'm going to paste that here. This, and some of the, you have to be aware of, as well, because some of the, because it's a template, it might not let you do some changes. So you need to work on it. And some people, if you're able to create a CV from scratch, obviously you have to follow the guidelines. So this is what they're looking for. They're looking to recruit an exciting opportunity. So what I would do is I would introduce myself as this. Just go back a little bit more. I'm going to leave that for a moment. I'll come here. Oh dear. I don't want it to highlight it. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna use that anyway. So I can say that I'm a clinical. You can start with your name. You can say Jana is a clinical psychologist with over 7 years experience. Remember what I said? You are checking the spelling as well. Clinical psychology with over 7 years experience. And look at what they're looking for. They're looking to recruit an exciting opportunity for a qualified. So you want to put that word as well. Because what happened is some of them, they use, I don't know if Rebecca is aware or she can share more light on that. But what I've noticed from some recruitment agencies or from organization is that they do filter the words out. So let me know if I'm right, Rebecca. So
yeah,
what I
that's
do,
correct. That's correct. We will filter out the power words that we believe that we're looking for to identify for our applicants who are applying for us.
absolutely, thank you for that. So they will filter those words out. So they've put there that they want a qualified clinical psychologist. So you don't just want to put a clinical psychologist, you want to make them aware that you are a qualified clinical psychologist with over 7 years experience. Obviously, if that's what you have, do not lie on your CV. Rather, work on yourself to be able to attain those. So if you're a qualified clinical psychologist, you're putting in there you're qualified clinical psychologist with over 7 years experience. Even if it's 1 year experience that you've had, you can still highlight it there. And so you're qualified. After then, you're qualified clinical psychologist with over 7 years experience. That's one. You know, over 7 years experience assisting. I'm just going through their words now. Okay, over 7 years experience in child first, in child, and where is the next word? I'm just following that word. Mental health. You can also highlight that you're a self-motivated individual because they've highlighted that there. You're self-motivated individual who loves to work with families, severe, complex problems. So if they use a filter, if it's an organization that uses a filter, first of all, you'll be able to go through the first stage at least because of this. Why? Because you've highlighted what they want from your CV. They can see it there. So if I'm reading through that CV, I see Jenna is a qualified clinical psychologist with over 7 years experience in, 7 years experience working with children. You might want to say children here, and adults, mental health. I'm a self-motivated individual who loves to work with families with severe complex problems. So you've highlighted everything here, for example. Okay, you've highlighted everything here. What is it? From here. From this place here. So if they use any filter, you're able to go, you go to the next stage. And the next one says, the next paragraph says the role will identify and deliver appropriate and relevant treatment and intervention if you have delivered this, because that's what they're looking for. So you can say, for over 7 years, I have been, don't say you can, I have been able to deliver relevant treatments. So what you're doing is you're writing that word back to them. Relevant treatments and interventions in maybe or maybe that's what you're doing right now. You could say that's what you're doing right now, or for over the years you've been able to deliver relevant treatments and intervention can you see, even this one, it says for 8 children. So maybe for the years, for over 7 years, you've been able to do that for, let's say, we don't want to exaggerate, maybe 20 children or more than that. You need to highlight that on there. And with the 20, you want to write them in full words. You want to write them in full words as well. So you don't put 20 children. You want to write them in full words as well. So because that's what they've written, if that's the experience you have, that's what you're going to put there. So for over 7 years, I've been able to deliver relevant treatments and intervention. Where's my words now? So you put that there, to over 20 children in our inpatient service, blah, 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 blah. And then you've been able to promote promoted and developed the mental, I'm looking for that words now, mental, emotional, physical, and social well-being or you can put it the other way around of my patients, or of my organization, or of my hospital, whichever way, of my hospital patients. So they will know that that's where you worked. So this is your own personal achievement now. So you can see that within the first few minutes, you've been able to let them know your achievement for over the years. And when the HR person reads it, they'll be like, yeah, that's what we're looking for. And even with the filter, what happened is that it would highlight those words for for the HR person that's going to read it, because I have so many CVs to go through, and then maybe you'll be the first, you'll be among the first 10 people that would then later come into the HR table, and then you can then be invited for interviews. So you want to highlight that. And Rebecca was asking for font earlier. The font that you should use, that is recommended, you should always use, some people do use Arial, but I would say Calibri is professional. Some people use Arial. Calibri body is professional, so you don't want to use like black Cada, for example. You don't want to see your cursive unless I don't know if there's anyone that would want to see that words. So some people use Arial or Calibri body. So those are the two professional ones that you might want to use. I don't know if anyone has any other question. And if there's anything Rebecca want to share with us as an HR person, because we need to go now.
No, I think you definitely covered everything, I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Is there any addition to that? Anything like an HR person? What other things would you look out for, especially when someone is coming for an interview now? So maybe they've been able to work on their CV and now they've have the interview. What should they look out for?
Definitely, I would say the skills that they put on their CV is what they need to be able to demonstrate when they're interviewing. So the questions that's going to be asked, you want to be able to basically have a sentence with every skill that you've basically put on your application or your CV, because that's what we will definitely look for.
Thank you. I know every one of us know how to use the reaction button, but can we please give Rebecca a round of applause, because she didn't have to. She didn't have to share this. She only came for the workshop as as everyone else. But she's sharing her skills with us. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for that. And like I said, if you're working on your CV, if you're updating your CV, you're reworking on your CV, make sure that all the things that you put there, you can actually demonstrate them when you go for interview. Because that's one of the common mistake, is that we lie, and then when we get there, you're like the shadow of yourself. You're like, okay, did I actually do that? So you want to make sure that you can actually demonstrate the skills that you've highlighted. Yeah, for example, your first 5 minutes of introduction, you might want to share that thing that you've written for the first 5 minutes that are about Jana that I mentioned earlier. I've been able to work with kids with mental health. I've worked with over 20 children. I'm a qualified clinical. So let's say, for example, introduce yourself. My name is Jana. I'm a qualified clinical psychologist with over 7 years of experience working with children and adults with mental health issues. I'm a self-motivated individual who loves to work with families with severe problems. So you want to highlight that, even if it means that maybe they've said, I don't make it seem like you've crammed it. You can take a glass of water to make you pause. You can ask for a glass of water. Ask for a glass of water so that you can have a sip, pause, and then start again. Okay, I wish you all the best. I have another meeting in just 1 minute. I'm really sorry. I wish I could spend all day here, but I have another meeting in 1 minute. So I wish you all the very best with your CV. But if you do have any concern, any issues, and you're not clear, you still need support, please don't hesitate to contact me. And obviously, I would really appreciate your feedback as well. So please, if you can go on, I'm going to post the link now before I go into my next meeting. So please leave us a review on Google. If you type Black Women in Care on Google, I'm actually going to share the Google review page. So please, if you can leave us a review on Google. It would be so nice, and more people can see and learn more about Black women in care. And like I said, we're having our mentoring soon. So it's starting in April, like I said. So if you're looking into moving into institutional care, or you're already working, you're looking into moving up the career ladder, it is an opportunity for you. And I'll always say, these people, they're bigger than myself. So even they are also my own mentor. There are people that I go for advice. There are members, there are advisory boards of Black women in care. So I do go for them for advice. We do brainstorm strategy, strategize together. So it is an opportunity for you to join this mentoring program. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now. Bye.